unless you've been living under a rock, people are pretty pissed off about Black Ops 4's recent additions, and rightfully so. The one thing that was said not to happen in the game finally did, with weapons being solely put in reserves. This makes the worthwhile contents nearly all locked behind a reserve wall, and yes, you can grind for those, but I know that personally, I certainly don't have thousands of hours to pour into the game to get a chance at what I'm hopeful for. Nobody does, let's be real. So that pushes the envelope for a paywall of those sorts of things, and for those that don't have the time but still want to get those items. Now, I'm an optimistic guy, or at least I try to be. But I'm sure that you've seen over the recent videos that I'm at my wit's end, and as a few have put it, I've actually just been broken in a way. One, in the way that I just can't take it and I'm just so frustrated with all of it, and two, that I'm so dumbfounded by the recent actions that I literally break character, as you put it, which to me is just the hilarious way to talk about it, but it's entirely true. I've broken off of commentary notes and anything that I use to try and help keep a professional flow to the videos so much as of recently because I really am that at a loss of words. But coming back to it, like I said, I'm an optimist. I'm hoping for that one sliver of good news, and the ray of light at the end of the tunnel will come around, because Days of Summer isn't over just yet. We're promised another larger title update towards the end of the month, in which we'll get contracts coming to the game. So today I want to share my thoughts on the fact that contracts have no room for error to remedy what's happened, and they need to be perfect and go above and beyond if that's even possible. Now, this all stems from this information about contracts from literally the Days of Summer Reddit thread or blog post here, in which there's a section saying contracts are coming. It's then listed that with our next major update in late June, we're launching contracts in Black Ops 4 to give players new ways to earn additional in-game rewards. We've heard your requests for more rewards through gameplay, and we're designing Black Ops 4's contract system to provide new benefits for playing your way. Stay tuned for more details next week as we get closer to launch. Now, the most interesting part here to me out of this is that they end up saying stay tuned for next week, insinuating that we may end up seeing some more information given out about the contract system, maybe an ETA in particular as of a date of that update, or maybe just some examples of the things that we'll end up seeing, an image of the contract system and all things alike, so that we may be having information very soon. But again, doesn't really give all that much outside of it, but we do know it's going to be coming. But like I mentioned, and especially as I'm sure a lot of people will agree with, to me, I think this marks the last real chance to make a mark on the game. If you think about it, Black Ops 4 is already, as of today, 240 days old since its launch, almost 8 months since that happened. Unlike recent years, it does have a little longer of a scheduled life cycle than most Call of Duty titles, coming in at about a year and a few weeks and change, given that Modern Warfare's scheduled release date is October 25th. But this is the last real chance to probably see some major adjustments, if you ask me. The closer we get, the closer the marketing focus is going to be on the next title, and even more so, the less people will care or get bored of Black Ops 4 or any number of reasons, but they'll just not really be as interested in the game. But the final hurrah happens normally in June or July, beforehand in previous titles. The biggest counterpart that I can think of here for Black Ops 4 is, well, even Black Ops 3. One of the biggest things that was added late in the life cycle of Black Ops 3 was that of contracts and blackjack. That was introduced on June 13th of 2016. A year later, well, we ended up getting in May, Zombies Chronicles released, and that kind of broke the internet actually, and was something that was a huge addition to Black Ops 3, but may have just been a direct effect due to Infinite Warfare and the maybe lack thereof of interest at the time. But even in recent years, Days of Summer, those things being in July and outside of those dates, that's the last real big marketing push outside of DLC packs. Sure, there was a 4th DLC pack that usually releases in August or September for whatever title it may be about, but there really isn't all that much in terms of game tuning, core features changed, or anything major like what we saw in World War II with, say, the Division's overhaul. Infinite Warfare didn't really have anything core fundamental gameplay changing wise. Black Ops 3 had contracts, but that was mid-June. Anything later, and we don't really see it. So contracts are more than likely going to be the last major fundamental play implemented into Black Ops 4. And that's what scares me the most, honestly, because with every single step forward, there's 2-3 steps backwards. And so while a big concern for the community is on the current and future weapons that may more than likely be added into supply drops only, I don't know how much I believe that they'll make all these directly earnable, so much as a copy and paste system in place from Black Ops 3, where we can do, say, total win contracts for another triple play, another bribe, another bundle crate cash, or something less than meaningful to players. Black Ops 3's contracts weren't were nice because yes, you could have something to grind out. It wasn't something that necessarily only required you to play off the RNG chance of supply drops, but unlike every single COD game since then, what you grinded for, you didn't have 100% knowledge of what you were going to get at the end of it compared to what you knew going into it. Your knowledge on the situation and what you'd end up getting out of it was pretty much the same, because even though you ended up having, say, a triple play, or you knew, say, you ended up having the Grand Slam bundle where you could get one of two different camos, you still, even at best for that scenario, had a 50-50 chance of getting the green or the purple Dragon's Breath camo or whatever it was called at that point. So even when you bring it down to other things like that, you're never going to have a 100% chance of knowing what you'd get, unlike other games since then. You literally got rewarded with chance and that was it, not whatever you wanted. So, Treyarch, I implore you to examine the feedback of those that actually play the game, that invest their time and their day into it, or maybe more so just Activision. Whoever it is that is making, again, the choices here for this, your bottom line and profits will hurt more when you alienate your fan base so much to the point where they don't want to play and they don't want to come back at all, to a short-term loss because of less MTX sales. If this is in direct reasoning because sales are slightly lower, and so that's why you end up putting weapons in supply drops so that you're hopeful people will buy into it and generate more revenue here for this, a short-term loss is a hell of a lot better than an actual product that can make you money long-term completely dying out. I've made the analogy before, but if a delivery man comes to your house and asks you to sign for a box of literal crap, there's only so long that you go before you just stop answering the door. Contracts can be so much more, so much bigger, but they can't fall flat and they can't be a copy and paste like Black Ops 3 and the less than meaningful rewards that came along with it. I'm all for things that are an addition, like a special contract or something like that that would give a triple play a Grand Slammed or something of the comparable weight to what we saw in Black Ops 3, but that's only if it's in addition. I want things that will guarantee rewards for players with their in-game playtime, something like a weapon-specific bribe, and where you don't have a limit on just one every operation or anything like that. There needs to be a way to earn all of the weapons that are placed in supply drops. Either you end up going for them in reserves, or you end up activating a contract that will task you with 50 or 100 wins. Something like that. Not this current weapon bribe BS that you only have a roughly 8% chance of that weapon that you wanted because Mark II weapons are thrown in there as well. If there's 4 different weapons, there should be contracts for 4 different weapons, not Mark II. There should be either unlock challenges in-game directly or give 4 contracts so that you're guaranteed the weapons after a grind. If World War II can do it, why can't Black Ops 4? Again, Black Ops 3 had a challenge for 100 wins for a triple play. Honestly, I wouldn't expect any differently or even mind if that's the case, so long as that I know that after those 100 wins or 400 wins that I'll have the weapon or the weapons that I end up wanting, and I'll be getting everything, which is possible. I genuinely would not mind if there was additional things and a bunch of contracts added in for dailies, weeklies, and specials, in which you could have a special for a triple play, you could have a special for an exclusive camo, you could have a special for an exclusive mastercraft or something like that. But the core underlying issues of things that do alter gameplay being stuck behind a steep grind wall, which is literally not possible for an arcade shooter, or a huge paywall, is something that needs to be tackled here at these contracts. And if we're talking about other things that could be fixed as well, please, for the love of God, remove duplicates. There's now over 1,100 items, closing in actually on 1,213 because, believe it or not, existing weapon charms are also being under the radar ported over to other weapons. So whereas, say, things could have been only specific for the sniper rifles, they're now moved over to other classifications as well. So new items aren't added in, they're just being added in elsewhere where it's parted out even further. Remove duplicates at the very minimum as well. You should never have to have a less than 1% chance to get the item you want, plus cutting that even further in half because, well, it could be a duplicate you roll. That sort of stuff should never be happening. But contracts definitely cannot fall flat, because if nothing happens and nothing is fixed out to end up granting these things on a core fundamental of how loot is distributed, If nothing happens, I think that honestly it might be a wash for Black Ops 4. I think that genuinely this is the last of any expectations we may be able to have for this title, which sure would be ramping up for a new operation and new DLC in the early stages of July shortly thereafter, but without fundamental fixes, the inherent problems already will still persist, and it probably would just compound and make them even worse and even more egregious with the next operation, as we've seen with every single operation so far. We thought the Grand Heist was bad. We thought that some of the stuff added within Operation Absolute Zero is bad, but it's only gotten worse over time. And not even that, but the fact that the further we push on, the marketing focus will change, and like we mentioned based off of industry info, Black Ops 5 is seemingly already in development and production, and is apparently Treyarch's priority, so the support will be next to gone trying to prep a game in a year's time as opposed to their standard 2 to 3 years. They just won't have the time, and as a result, what we'll see is probably what we'll get even if we don't like what we see. We'll also start to see the shift in marketing towards modern warfare more. Your guess is as good as mine as to when it comes to things like MP and co-op being shown off, but when it comes down to it, we've seen that most pre-Black Ops 4 MP content is shown off in late July or early August beforehand, and so who knows, because if this stuff is the focus, we're probably not going to get the opportunity for a focus on even more Black Ops 4 changes to be shown off. It's just not going to be a priority at that point, because when you're in that point, you're also entering the territory of too little too late, because who in their right mind is going to greenlight a game-changing flip to systems when there's only, say, 2 months left on the game? As much as I'd love that, it's not enough of a return for the people calling the shots for that even to be considered a possibility. So to me, contracts, the last hurrah, the last chance here that this game has any hope in salvaging what it has and correcting some of its mistakes. No doubt a lot of the stuff that happened within Black Ops 4 will definitely live on in infamy, and as much as I hate to be negative, a lot of the stuff that has happened MTX-wise is a smudge on how Black Ops 4's legacy will live on within the Call of Duty franchise. But I think that's where we're going to call it here today. I said my piece on this, and I really do hope that contracts to end up bringing some positivity back to the game. But for now, that's where we're at. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular you'd like to add here to this? Do you agree, disagree, whatever it may be? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered for the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. Probably live on both those. So if you guys want to start up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. So let's sign out as well. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.